Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Cheaper by the Dozen 2. This is, of course, the sequel to Cheaper by the Dozen. This is from 2005. Stars Steve Martin, Bonnie Hunt, Eugene Levy, Carmen Electra, Tom Welling, Hilary Duff, Piper Perabo, and the list goes on. The list goes on and on. And of course, when you have a family of 12 kids who happen to have a rivalry with another family with not as many kids, but still a lot. One in which includes Taylor Lautner. Yeah. What's his name from Twilight? A very young Taylor Lautner. So he's like 10 in this, but yeah. He's the one person in this movie who gets to go on a date with Allison Stoner, who plays Sarah Baker, one of the daughters in the family, Steve Martin's family. So yeah, this is, of course, a family comedy. It's very much in the. This is a 20th Century Fox film. So this is, inherited in the purchase. So it's got a very, it's 20th Century Fox. So yeah, they're not afraid to cross promote. There's one sequence in this where that date that I talked about with Taylor Lautner and Allison Stoner, they go to the movies, and of course the dads decide to spy on them, make sure that nothing gets out of hand. They're honestly, I think they're 10, but they're going. Excuse me. They're going to see Ice Age, 20th Century Fox film. In the hallway, there's a Napoleon Dynamite poster. I'm pretty sure that was 20th Century Fox, or at least one of the independent ones underneath 20th Century. So yeah, it's very much, I'm not going to say the word. It's very much within its own realm. So yeah, this is an easy to enjoy, family friendly film. Steve Martin, he has had his share of more mature roles over the years, but usually always strongly comedy leaning. My favorites are, of course, The Jerk and Three Amigos, but of course, same thing with Eugene Levy. Eugene Levy's in just about everything from the 80s onward, and anything that he's usually in is something I like. Best in Show, all the Christopher Guest films, Schitt's Creek series that was on Netflix for a while. He was the dad. He was the main guy. So it's some pretty great comedians, pretty much not having to do. I don't know. I don't think this is hard work. I mean, it's usually they say never work with dogs and kids, and there's at least one dog and so many kids that it could be unpleasant. But I get the feeling that since this is a sequel, pretty much everybody showed up, did their small bit, because again, you can't spend too much time on one character beyond the lead, which is Steve Martin. So, and his wife, played by Bonnie Hunt, who also, kind of gets, she gets her moments, but the focus is mostly on Steve Martin. And you get Eugene Levy, who is just as competitive as Steve Martin's character. And they have an old rivalry, and they keep calling back to this era in which everybody was much younger, and they had a rivalry at the Lake Winnetka outside of Chicago, and the Bakers, Steve Martin's family, lost to them by 2 points, and it's a thing that they really hung on to. Being a former football coach, Steve Martin's character tends to not let things go, I guess. And and that's what creates any kind of tension. If you have any tension in this, yes, it's going to be between parents dealing with kids growing up too fast, or wanting them to sometimes maybe grow up just a little bit, because some of them, especially the younger ones, are just chaos, just embodied chaos. Fireworks at the clam bake, sure, put that on the table with the open flame. That seems like a good idea. Carmen Electra. Carmen Electra, gorgeous young wife of Eugene Levy in this film. She has an opportunity. Now, this is the kind of thing I was kind of surprised they went with this, because Eugene Levy comes off as this big shot, big wig, rich guy who runs this resort across the lake. It's that classic, rivalry with the haves and the have-nots kind of thing, the underdogs and the privileged. She's the young wife, his third wife. She could have come off as a complete jerk like him. But she seems sweet-natured throughout the film, and in fact, she's kind of admits at one point that she's a little overwhelmed in her role as a new mom to so many kids, which Dad cracks the whip and molds them into perfect human beings in his eyes. And then, of course, he has an attractive young daughter. His eldest daughter is Jamie King, who happens to be the same age as Tom Welling, doing double duty, probably showing up to do this when he's not busy playing Clark Kent on Smallville. I'm pretty sure it was around the same time, yeah. And while you get a sense of a romance, could it go somewhere? Well, they both have expectations that their parents have for them, their fathers have for them specifically, and they got to work that out. Again, it's Dad kind of. It's mainly Steve Martin, the dad, pushing his way into each of his kids' lives, not with the intent of being a jerk, but sometimes he gets a little overboard, and that's where you get the comedy and the tragedy and everything else in between. And that's the way it should be with these stories. But everything works out in the end, of course. I'm not really spoiling you for that. Piper Perabo, by the way, the eldest daughter in the family, she's pregnant in this, and her and her husband are along for the ride at this Labor Day weekend, Labor Day pre-week kind of family camping outing, and she looks like she's ready to pop. And, well, you'll have to watch the end of the movie to find out. It's all sentimental and sweet, and yeah, it'll tug on your heartstrings, get you a little misty-eyed here and there, because again, it's all about family, and it's about just loving each other for who they are, not for who you want them to be. And even when expectations kind of get in the way, it's good to sort of see people for who they are. Hilary Duff, which I mentioned also, she has a storyline as well. She's got to go off to work in New York City because she's going to work for a fashion magazine. But it's kind of a sort of, we got to get Hilary Duff back. She's Hilary Duff, and all the kids love her, so you can't just have a reunion, a sequel episode of this series and go, well, you know what, we're just going to say, oh, she's out of town. Yeah. So they gave her a few roles, a few important parts in this, but yeah, for the most part, when you're watching this, you're watching it for Steve Martin, Bonnie Hunt, Eugene Levy, and Carmen Electra as the parents, both beleaguered due to their own efforts or lack thereof, or because they're just in their own way. So, it's not the kind of movie I would have actually chosen to watch. Like, oh my gosh, I gotta make sure I watch Cheaper by the Dozen 2. We've already seen the first one. You can check some of the older videos out, see what I thought of that. But it's always a pleasant experience with Steve Martin and the gang, and you're usually not going to get a bad film with Steve Martin. And you get a feeling that throughout this, there's a number of sequences where they feel like they kind of ad lib. There's moments that when Steve Martin drops a line, Bonnie Hunt reacts, and it feels really genuine. Like she did not know that line was coming. And there is a blooper reel at the very end, a very short one, mixed in with intentional funny bits, that different takes on things that, fill up a few minutes of time before they roll the to the rest of the credits. So, yeah, Adam Shankman has directed this. It's predictable. It's not going to surprise you in any way. You know exactly what's going to happen with each of these characters. It's just how it happens, and you can still enjoy it. It's a good background while you're cleaning the house kind of thing, kind of movie. Sit down with the family, and you can always know that when you're going to sit down and watch one of these cheaper by the dozen movies, that the kids and you can enjoy it. So that's pretty great. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. 362. What have we got? Come on. Load. 362. Oh my. It's 362, right? Yeah. Got another movie. Not sure what it is, but we'll find out soon enough when we watch Turkey Hollow. Why do I don't recognize that at all? So anyway, we're watching a movie, it says, called Turkey Hollow tomorrow on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.